Welcome to my pre-algebra series. In this video, we're going over unit rate. I have a few examples. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, I'm going to start off by showing two different methods, and then we're going to use both of those methods throughout some of the other examples that we have, but let's do a comparison side by side with this first problem. If an 18 pack of gum costs $5.50, what would one stick of gum cost? And we're going to round to the nearest cent since we're talking about money. All right, so the proportion method. The proportion method is a great method, but you just have to be careful about where you are putting each number. So the proportion method works like this. We're going to set two fractions equal to each other. And in those two fractions, we are basically going to be comparing the amount of the total pieces of gum and cost to the single pieces of gum and cost of that single piece of gum. So let's go ahead and set that up. We've got an 18 pack of gum that cost $5.50. So I'm going to go ahead and put those two numbers in the same fraction together. Now, I could put 18 as the denominator and then the $5.50 as the numerator. It doesn't really matter how I set up this first fraction necessarily, but what does matter is that it matches with the second fraction. So since I have gum in the numerator of the first fraction, I need to put the unit rate of the gum in the second fraction. So since we want to know what just one stick of gum costs, then that's what's going to go here is just one stick of gum. So we have the total amount of the thing and the cost together in one fraction, but then in each numerator, we have the same type of item. So in this case, it's both gum. And then that means that down here would have to be the unit rate cost of that one stick of gum. We don't know that one, so that's where we're going to put our variable. You can use X, you can use whatever variable you want. All right, there is another way that we could set this up. If I wanted to, we could have put these two total items in the numerators. So I can separate it out like this: total pieces of gum, total cost of those 18 pieces of gum. But again, it just depends on where you put these numbers for the second part of this, the denominator. So again, since that 18 pieces of gum is here in the numerator, I need to match that with the one piece of gum in the denominator. And then similarly over here, this is where that unit rate cost is going to go. So the costs line up together, and then the unit rate and the totals line up together. So both of these will give us the same result. I'm going to go ahead and solve this first one. So now once we're here, we have our proportions set up. We're going to cross multiply. So 18 times x, that just gives us 18x. And then that's going to be equal to the 550 times 1. So that's just going to give us 550. And now we're going to just solve for x by dividing by 18. So we're going to divide by 18 on both sides. That's going to cancel out that and gives us x equals, let's see what 550 divided by 18 is. We're just going to pull that decimal up. Remember that we don't move the decimal unless we have a decimal in the number on the outside. 18 goes into 55 3 times. So 18 times 3. 3 times 8 is 24. And then 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 more is 5. So that gives us 54. We're going to subtract, bring down the 1, bring down the 0. 18 can't go into 10, so we're going to put a 0 there. And then bring down another 0. 18 can go into 105 times. So 18 times 5. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 more is 9. So that gives us 90. And when we subtract, we get 10. We would add another 0 to that. So we can tell that we're just going to keep getting 100 and then 10 and then 100 and dividing. So this 5 is going to repeat. Since we are talking about the cost of something, we want to round to the nearest cent. That 0.305 repeating, we're going to round to the nearest cent. So this is going to cost about 31 cents for that one piece of gum. All right, let's do the same problem, but with a simpler division method. When we are trying to find the unit rate, just one of something, we can always just divide. However, I find that when I'm working with students, sometimes they're not sure which way to divide. Do we do 18 divided by 550, or do we do 550 divided by 18? Okay, so here is the rule for that. The number that you are dividing by should be the thing that you're trying to find the unit rate for. So since we want to know what just one stick of gum costs, then that tells us that we are dividing by the amount of total pieces of gum. All right, so that means that this is the division problem that we want, 550 divided by 18. And we just did that over in the other problem, so we already know that the answer is 305 repeating, 0.305 repeating, which then we can round to 31 cents. So this will also get you to that unit rate by just dividing by the amount that you want to know the unit rate for. Let's try some other examples. For these, I'm going to go with the division method, and remember that when we are using that division method, we are dividing by the unit rate item. So at work, Mr. Watts can pack 35 widgets into boxes for shipping in 7 hours. How many widgets can he pack in 1 hour? Okay, so the unit rate that we're trying to find is 1 hour. So that means we are going to be dividing by the 7. So our problem is simply 35 divided by 7, which equals 5. So that means that Mr. Watts can pack 5 widgets in 1 hour. Okay, for problem 3, we actually have the same setup. So we have Mr. Watts can pack 35 widgets into boxes for shipping in 7 hours. However, the question part of this one is different. How many hours would it take him to pack 1 widget? So in this one, we want to divide by the number of widgets because that is the unit rate that we are trying to solve for. So we have 35 widgets, again, in 7 hours, but this time we are dividing by the 35. So let's set up our problem. 7 divided by 35. Since 7 is a smaller number than 35, I'm going to go ahead and write this as a fraction, 7 over 35. We could go ahead and divide this and find a decimal if you wanted to. I'm going to go for a fraction with this one. This can be simplified. Both can be divided by 7 evenly. So we get 1 over 5, meaning that it would take him 1/5 of an hour to pack 1 widget. For this one, we're going to use the proportion method, and I have a little diagram here just to kind of help us set up a little bit for this one. And I like to use this when I'm working with students who are unsure of where to put each number in their proportion. So hopefully this will help us. We've got the blue rectangle and triangle in the numerators of each and the yellow rectangle and triangle in the denominators, but both rectangles are in the same fraction and both triangles are in the same fraction. So we want to make sure that we're grouping the correct things together. All right, so Bree gets paid $704.80 for a 40-hour work week at the Doodad factory. How much does Bree get paid hourly? All right, so let's just try to assign each of our amounts here to one of these 4 items that can go in our proportion. So the $704.80, that's how much she gets paid for a total 40-hour work week. So I'm going to put that in that blue rectangle. Now, what goes along with that is the 40 hours that she works. So I'm going to put that in a blue triangle. So they are different amounts. One is money, one is hours, but they go together because they are both the totals. All right, and so then similarly in our question here, how much does Bree get paid hourly? The paid is what we want to know about, and so that goes with the money that she gets, right? She gets a total amount of money, and then we want to know how much money she gets for just 1 hour. And then the hourly tells us the unit rate that we're going for, so we're going to put that in a triangle. So hopefully that visual just kind of helps us get our proportion set up appropriately. So we've got 704.80 equals, and then we're going to put our 40 hours over in this other fraction, and we want to know how much she gets paid, so that's going to go along with the money that she makes total, but we don't know that amount, so we're going to use our variable there. And then the hourly tells us that we want just 1 hour. So again, hours together, money together, totals together, and then unit rates together. All right, let's go ahead and solve by cross multiplying. 704.80 times 1 is 704.80 equals, and then we're going to cross multiply the other way. 40 times x gives us 40x. We're going to divide by 40 on both sides to cancel out that 40 and give us just x. So let's see what that is. 704.80 divided by 40. So 40 can go into 71 time. Let's go ahead and drop that down. We get 30. Drop down our 4. 40 can go into 304. Well, 4 can go into 37 times. So I'm going to go for that. So that would be 280. When we subtract, we get 24. We're going to bring down our 8. 40 can go into 248 6 times because 4 can go into 24 6 times. So 6 times, and I forgot to bring my decimal up. So we're going to just pull that up there. So that is 240. And then when we subtract, we get 8. Bring down our 0. 40 can go into 80 twice. This does come out evenly right here. We would, of course, want to round to the nearest cent if it didn't, but it does come out to that Brie makes $17.62 per hour. Okay, and in our last example, Raul can make 92 gizmos in 4 hours. How many gizmos can he make in 1 hour? Okay, I'm going to use our shapes in different colors again for this one just to kind of help me set up our proportions. So this time I'm going to put the 92 gizmos and the 4 hours together in the same fraction. So let's see what that looks like. So we've got 92 over 4 equals, okay, so since I have the gizmos in the numerator of my first fraction, then that means I need the number of gizmos in my second fraction to be in the numerator. So how many gizmos? That is the question that we are trying to answer. I'm going to try to put this in a triangle here. How many gizmos? So that's going to be where our x is, right? Because we don't know that number yet, but we do know that we want to know in 1 hour. So since we have 1 hour here, then we're going to put that 1 there in the denominator because that is where our hours are in the first fraction is in the denominator. Okay, now we're going to cross multiply. So we've got 4x equals 92 times 1 is 92. We're going to divide by 4, divide by 4. So 92 divided by 4, let's see what that is. 4 can go into 9 twice. And then we bring our 2 down. 4 can go into 12 3 times. That goes in evenly. So he can make 23 gizmos in 1 hour. And that is our answer for that one. Thanks so much for joining me on this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, let me know any other topics or skills that you might want to see. I'm going to drop a link in the description of my pre-algebra series. It has this and many other videos that go over a ton of different topics that you would typically see in a pre-algebra class. So check that out as well. And I'll see you next time.